All right, I just want to show you the presence of the engineered light that's inside of my apartment. This is the windowsill. This is the presence of the presence of engineered light, suggesting that there is any source of what is going to be sunlight in a different concentration. The same and possible light activity. The entity is engaging, just like you saw last night, a sunset outside. You can also see engineered light that's coming through the closed blinds. So this is just paying attention to details. This is light activity right here. Engineered light in a different color, a different hue. This is what the maintenance of the specific environment, and I'm going to specifically document the sex offense and terrorism by Amazon, engaged in both federal stalking and group stalking in concert with LAPD. The light source is indeed directly over my apartment, as I've already documented it several times over a prolonged period of time here in Los Angeles, which you juxtapose with the maintenance of the light source, for example, over the Rancho Cucamonga courthouse, as I'm documenting, over me and the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department and the Upland Police Department, as I'm documenting it under the light source at the Upland Public Library, over the Ontario Fire Department, over the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department group stalking again, and American Medical Response group stalking while I'm at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, as I've documented in the morning, over the San Bernardino Superior Court at 12:47 in the afternoon. All of these are times where I've shown you the maintenance of this light source directly over my front door and covering up the light source, which is what you're looking at now, and the light source is still here. And you're looking at also the engineer light inside of my apartment, which is no explanation for the presence of the engineer light, because sunlight does not create this light activity, and this is also not the sun. So this is speaking to the specific environment, which is here. I'm going to prosecute, but right now I'm going to speak to what I just documented, which is again grounds of prosecution for Amazon Prime, a third-party group stalker engaged in state surveillance, engaged in what is the sex offense, engaged in both federal stalking in concert with the corrupt entity, sounding helicopter, and this is the evidence of what is criminal presence. Ordering groceries from Amazon Prime, the people of the state, is in no way providing any consent for them to engage in the sex offense in concert with the state of California. Engaging in group stalking is not what I'm requesting. It's not what I'm ordering. It's not what I'm paying for. Engaging in what is surveillance on the venue of the internet in concert with the people of the state and with the state itself, in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, is not what I am paying for or any American citizen is paying for upon ordering groceries online on the venue of the internet, which is also public information that Amazon is engaged in criminally sharing with regard to violation of your privacy rights. That's not what you're signing up for. I'm sure you're not going on Amazon Prime and are aware of the fact, nor do they give you any sort of disclaimer that they are fully engaged in criminal surveillance, and none of your private information is actually private, including your credit card number and any and all purchases and everything that you're doing on their website, which is again a public forum where state surveillance is underway. At 10:55 a.m. this is speaking to criminal presence in the path, and this is also federal stalking. At the same exact time that this email is sent, LAPD is outside of my apartment sounding helicopter activity. These are ongoing stamps of criminal presence and the ongoing use of communication devices via email and by text message, which is evidence of Amazon Prime's engagement in criminal conduct, both in relevant position and on the venue of the internet, while I am inside of my apartment and I am subject to terrorism, while LAPD, those are the demon-possessed actors. They're engaged in audible activity creation. They're engaged in stalking in a helicopter. They do so in a perceptible manner, both to engage in the criminal elements of monitoring, which is engaging in demonic activity. They're doing it in concert with the people of the state, and they're doing it with in concert with Amazon Prime, who is providing evidence with regard to their criminal presence at the specific environment, where they are stating at 10:57 the package was indeed delivered, 10:55 stating the time of delivery. I want to make sure that I spell out at 10:40 the entity is sounding helicopter activity. Amazon Prime's engaged in ongoing criminal conduct in concert with the entity that's sounding helicopter outside of my apartment, flying directly over, repeatedly flying in circles, in other words, pacing around, in other words. The entity was engaged in ongoing activity creation using helicopter activity. And Amazon Prime, the time of delivery, the time that they're sending text messages with regard to the fact that delivery is coming. Remember, this is also a hostile entity that is both delivering something that I ordered from them and is also hostile hostile because of the fact that I'm documenting them. So don't forget that. This is the same entity that you saw in images, group stalking at the crime scene, and you saw the light source remaining over me as I went through lengthy analysis, specifically using Amazon Prime, a documented group stalker and sex offender by virtue of that documentation that I just captured less than 3 days ago. And you saw the entity group stalking in concert with LAPD in those videos as well. That's the same entity with whom Amazon Prime is today on another day, still engaging in what is impunity and malice and a sex offense while I'm subject to state surveillance, which Amazon Prime is sponsoring and facilitating on communication devices in concert with the people of the state who are in relevant positions, sounding amplified music, which is audible activity in the engineered light under the light source in concert with the corrupt entity that uses helicopters to engage in group stalking. It is also harassment while the entity does so with knowledge of the fact that you're documenting it, which is speaking to the fact that you're aware of the fact that you're being monitored, and they engage in those elements to further harass you. And that's also relevant to what is the demon's purpose, to psychologically try to torment an ordinary targeted individual. This is all criminal. Everybody's going to federal prison that lives at Alvarado Gardens engaging in this on an ongoing basis. This is documentation, for example, that's going against Lucy Santos, who lives at a crime scene and is engaged in 24-hour criminal presence and activity creation as an entity. By virtue of your address, you're going to federal prison. This is a state system. And this is what the entity is engaged in. And the entity acting by the name of Amazon Prime is group stalking in concert with LAPD, who is also sending helicopter activity at 10:55 in the morning. You see the email that's sent at 10:55 in the morning speaking to the delivery. 2 minutes later, 10:57 speaking to the delivery. This is evidence of what is criminal presence. It is literally going to be prosecuted as the admission against the people engaging in criminal activity in concert with the state that was sounding helicopter activity over me here. And it is not coincidentally, it is pursuant to the pattern of conduct where demons affiliated with a company brand name are engaging in and facilitating state terrorism. This is group stalking. Group stalking is terrorism. Demons that are engaging in ongoing ceaseless ambush behavior against one. And I am one who is also documenting it. These demons are exceedingly hostile while they engage in their demonic activity, which is criminal surveillance together. They are further doing so while Amazon is sending text messages and emails, engaging in what is operation of my communication device in concert with the people who are all engaged in surveillance together, monitoring in relevant position as well. So I want to speak to the concerted timeline, what LAPD is doing while Amazon Prime is providing evidence of its criminal presence and facilitating activity, which is not coincidental. It's the pattern of conduct in the specific environment. And by the way, while you're looking at the engineered light, which you've already seen on my ceiling, you've already seen it appear and disappear in real time. You've already seen the light source while I've juxtaposed it over my hotel room at 2301 South Euclid Avenue for the duration of the day, not just at a specific hour and same exact time here, which is providing criminal conduct at all hours of the day that Amazon Prime is engaging in it. Amazon Prime is routinely engaged in ceaseless criminal activity as the state, not only coming onto the grounds of Alvarado Gardens, their whole presence in the environment is serving for criminal activity in concert with the people while they're delivering packages on Lobdell, for example. As you saw FedEx foolishly engage in on video, group stalking under the light source, delivering a package right across from 1826 Lobdell, while I just so happened, by the way, to be engaged in analysis regarding the impossible light activity. You saw that demon get out of a FedEx vehicle, group stalking on video in the specific environment, and it's going to be prosecuted. FedEx is already an established group stalker using their commercial airline planes and their demon-possessed employees, while engineered light moves all across surfaces while they're just delivering a package. While the light source is directly over me, again, in an entirely different region, but also documented that here in LA, which is revealing what is state surveillance that FedEx is engaged in. I'm just using that as an example so that you understand what I just captured with regard to state terrorism that I'm subject to while LAPD is sounding helicopter activity. This is the intent to terrorize, and the demons are also being generous and letting me know that my package has arrived. Amazon Prime did not knock. They didn't send anything with regard to the specific instructions that I give them regarding my preference for their delivery of my package. So, and that is something else that is specific on the delivery instructions. You give specific instructions, knock on my door, drop them at the door, and then leave them at the door. Amazon Prime did not do that. They are also aware that they're being documented. When you knock on the door, it's audible activity. But again, you're ordering groceries. You're not ordering or requesting or knowledgeable of the fact, nor can you concede to the criminal conduct of the state that's acting in concert with companies that are the people of the state. You are under no circumstances conceding to that or consenting to that, nor can you. You cannot consent to an entity's criminal system. So I want to make sure that you are aware of that. But this is what the entity is doing. They drop off the groceries. They send me text messages. They're serving to monitor me. And this is ongoing evidence of their criminal presence, delivering it. And the entity is engaging in what is dropping it off at my door. The instructions are that that's not true, that there's no delivery instructions. The delivery instructions are automatically included. So this is what is routinely supposed to be done. The entity is supposed to knock on, well, the instructions that I leave are for them to drop it at the door and knock on the door to give notice that they have delivered the the order. And instead of doing that, what they do is they engage in what is terrorism and group stalking conduct. I want to be clear, when you're engaged in the pattern of conduct, there's no getting out of the P.O.C. You're criminal, and you're going to be prosecuted regardless because of your presence and the entity engaging in the elements of monitoring, whether that demon that's delivering whatever goods you've purchased is not knocking on the door, and then the demons such as the LAPD provide what is, for example, audible activity via helicopter activity. They can knock on the door just like they did, and the entity will sound helicopter activity. You're still going to federal prison for group stalking in concert with the people with the state. Where they're knocking on the door, it's audible activity creation. You're monitoring, and you're monitoring inside of the private space. This is the reality, and this is how you're going to prosecute the state that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. But nonetheless, I want to show what is my account, and their instructions that you put in. You don't have to renew those instructions every time that you make a new purchase. So I just want to show I'm making a purchase, and I'll put it in my cart and go to the cart and check out Amazon Fresh. Continue. Continue. This is regard to scheduling, I believe. I'm not actually going to complete an order. Oh, okay. Delivery instructions are not included on here. Let me order it on my phone then, because the delivery instructions are automatically included in the order. And I'm only going through this just to show you that the instructions are always the same. And the instructions that are already entered in for my orders are that they drop the food off at the door and knock on the door, and they are not engaging in that and they're still monitoring. Just because they're not knocking on the door doesn't, obviously they're still engaging in audible activity. The entity went to the extent of sounding helicopter activity, and a demon-possessed third party outside blasting music, which is amplified. And this is how the demons are letting me know, oh, your groceries are there. Okay, so I look at my phone, I see missed text messages from Amazon. It's operational my communication device. It's occurring at the same time that the entity, and this is what I'm showing you, the ongoing pattern. The text messages are sent at the same time that the entity was sounding helicopter activity, flying circles over my apartment. And also, which is operation of the communication device. This is what the demons of speaker companies engage in. This is what the demons of Alvarado Gardens, the group stalkers that are living here, they'll send a text message. Oh, I have a work order. There's a flood in the laundry room. And they do so at the same time that, for example, I'm capturing video documentation. They do so at the same time that the entity is crossing path in helicopter. That's called concerted conduct. And it's the pattern of conduct where the entity is group stalking and monitoring together. This is what Amazon Prime is doing while they are monitoring in concert with the entity that's flying over me by helicopter. So that's the significance. So that's the only reason why I'm going over this, just so that you can see it. I have not changed the instructions. I ordered these groceries also last night. So the instructions were there last night. Here's a go. 2 carts. Let me close this. Give me 1 second. That's the only significance of it. But I want to see if their instructions were removed, because I didn't remove them. And under all circumstances, it's still the elements of monitoring. But it's no excuse. They're not only engaged in criminal conduct, they're engaged in deviating from what it is that I request for them to do. And it's not avoiding documentation. I don't need to know the specific demon, the third party, and that's what they are. These are the demon possessed, and this is an entity that's engaged in criminal conduct. They're monitoring together, and they do it by company name. They do it by business name. And you're looking at what is the very pattern of conduct occurring in a specific environment. So I just want to see. It does say delivery 3 to 5. Yeah, the delivery instructions were removed. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. It says my delivery instructions always remain the same, to drop them off in front of your door and to knock on the door. I want to make sure that I document that, and I wanted to see the removal of such delivery instructions. Still, I want to be clear, this is evidence of what is federal stalking. Amazon Prime on its website, in violation of the privacy notice that they have here. Pay attention. You don't have any privacy. All of the entity is monitoring the information that's uploaded, my credit card information, and Amazon Prime is not ignorant of this. This is not criminal surveillance that the state of California, by the way, the entity is engaged in outside of the knowledge or cooperation of the company that is Amazon Prime to be prosecuted as the people of the state. Their employees are engaged in group stalking at the specific environment, exhibiting, again, criminal engagement by virtue of the directed light conduct. Their presence under the light source, by the way, is the same evidence of their criminal engagement. No one is ignorantly present in relevant position under the light source, and that's just what you're gonna recognize that. The entity is also engaging in what are the methods of presence, activity creation, with simultaneity to whatever it is that I'm doing, acting in concert with the entity that's sounding helicopter activity, engaging in what is presence of engineer light inside of my apartment. Amazon Prime happens to be one that's engaged in crossing a path and activity creation via my cell phone while they are monitoring together, and they are engaging in what is federal stalking, which is the criminal disbursement, sharing of my private information, what I order, how I pay for it, how much it was. This is not information that you're consenting to be dispersed amongst a criminal agency, LAPD. Dominic Choi, it's none of his business. He has no right, no warrant, no probable cause, no lawful basis whatsoever to engage in what are stalking me while I'm conducting any purchases in concert with any other actor or commercial actor. Also to engage in what is criminal conduct with that actor, who are together engaging in what are surveillance on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18, 22618, subsections 1 and 2, nor engaging in what is group stalking together. This is criminal surveillance. That system is underway. You're looking at the light source that's covered up directly over my head in the same position. You see the directed light inside of my apartment. That engineer light that you see on the on the windowsill that you see, that I showed you on the windowsill, is the presence of the engineer light that you see here on my ceiling. Okay, that's very faint engineer light. That's the pattern, the horizontal pattern of the blinds that are closed, and the covered up light source is outside of the living room window. It's not outside of this window. The entity's light source outside is no explanation for the engineer light that's appearing above your head, and then as you also see appearing below. So let's be reminded again about what the entity is doing. This is engineered light in the evening as though the sun is setting here. You're looking at the engineered light and the light source that's covered up over the front door. Like I said, covering up the light source is no deviation from the documented pattern of stalking with a fake sun that remains over me for the duration of the day, which is entirely demonic. It's actually impossible that that's the natural environment, but I am showing you what is impossible. Covered up light source or bright and shining light source, like you saw as I showed you on video at 8:34 in the morning, and the light source is over the same apartment building that I'm inside of after 4 p.m. Comparing the environments, what you're seeing at the same address at 8:34 in the morning on May 6th, and what I showed you yesterday that's occurring after 4 p.m. on May 18th, 2024. Okay, that's the specific environment, and this is the entity's method of maintaining engineer light. This is the same thing that you're seeing on my ceiling right now. This is the presence of the specific environment where Amazon Prime is engaging what is deviating from their instructions that I gave them, while they are still engaged in the pattern of conduct of group stalking. This is engineered light that's supposed to be sunlight that's traveling up into the window. This is what the sunlight is coming through the closed blinds. The same closed blinds right now, where the engineered light that you see is very faintly on the ceiling, even as faint or richly as you've seen it illuminated yesterday as well. Under all circumstances, it's demonic and it's impossible. But what you're paying attention to is that under all circumstances, it's also impossible that it's sunlight. It has nothing to do with the sun. And that's not even the sun that would be over me at economy and at the same time in a same position directly over my head while it's covered up or not. You're not forgetting what was already captured when you saw that light source all brilliant in its essence, bright and shining right over my head at the same address. And I'm reminding you about what I've already captured in an entirely different region, even down to the same time of year, same day, same hour, same minute. Okay, the entity is maintaining a specific environment while this demon-possessed, corrupt entity is monitoring documentation incapable of protecting the Ontario Police Department, incapable of protecting Lisa Rogan of the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court and every other judge that's going to federal prison, engaging in kidnapping, incapable of protecting the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center and every other hospital documented engaging in what is the act of kidnapping while engaging in what is acting with these corrupt law enforcement agencies who are stalkers and engaging in what is kidnapping while you're being documented as a stalker. Incapable of protecting the people of the state at all of the aforesaid facilitating venues such as Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where there would never be any sunlight appearing on my ceiling, where there would never be any sunlight on my windowsill, where there would never be any sunlight on my windowsill, period, even outside of the presence of at Economy Inn, because the so-called cloudy day is not going to create any sort of sunlight on your windowsill, piercing through closed blinds at the same level of impossibility that you're seeing even when the light source is shining. It's impossible under all circumstances. That's not sunlight, and that's not what sunlight is going to do. Shooting horizontally upward, shooting horizontally downward, remaining inside of the specific environment at all hours of the day. This is documented during yesterday evening after 7 p.m. The entity is suggesting that the sun is going to be present at this hour. You just see the engineered light and the light source that's over my apartment. This is after 7 p.m. Okay, 7:05 p.m. And I'm reminding you about what the entity was doing with the light source, same time of year. And that's engineered light, again, ricocheting all through my apartment. And you're looking at it through the space. That's engineered light, not sunlight. This is entirely demonic. And I just want you to be reminded that this is the criminal conduct that Amazon Prime is providing evidence and admission to engaging in concert with LAPD, who is sounding helicopter activity while they are in relevant position, delivering, which I did not ask them to come engage in criminal monitoring. And that's exactly what you're doing in the specific environment that is mutually exclusive to what is documentation that already exists with regard to the same criminal system operated by the same exact public entity as I was in an entirely different region, which is surrounding the people of the state going by the name of Amazon Prime, of what it has no legally relevant rebuttal to or defense against. You are a group stalker, and you do so by company name while you're engaging and acting in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency that's repeatedly providing evidence against the people of the state. Okay, so I want to be clear. Amazon Prime is also unilaterally demonstrating their criminal cooperation in federal group stalking and monitoring and federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Amazon Prime heavily documented for a term of years. Okay, and they are equally vicious and psychotic. The demon-possessed workforce of Amazon Prime are engaging in surveillance in the United States. They're monitoring American citizens. They are the domestic enemy. They're working however much money these third-party group stalkers that work for Amazon Prime serves Satan. Amazon Prime are hiring the demon-possessed, and those demon-possessed third-party group stalking employees are engaging in state surveillance in concert with the corrupt government in California that's engaged in group stalking with the people of the state. So those are all of the levels of facts that are relevant and are already established. While Amazon Prime avoided knocking on my door, removing the specific instructions that I already had with regard to knocking on the door, which is, I'm going to document you're a group stalker, period. And by the way, you don't have a legally relevant argument. If I come as a resident manager and I request that you come to paint a vacant apartment, I'm not asking you, nor am I consenting to, nor can anyone ever provide any consent to the fact that you're engaged in group stalking with the corrupt government. That's not what you're agreeing to. That's not what you're consenting to, nor are you capable of doing that. You're present on behalf of a corrupt state. I'm going to continue to do my job as a resident manager, and I'm going to prosecute you and everything that you're doing in concert with that government is going to wind you up in federal prison. And then I'm going to drain the pockets of that company that you're engaging in state surveillance in the name of that company name. And you and that company name are going to be documented, published as group stalkers in the state of California, which should be recognized as America's version of terrorism, because that's what's going on in this country. All right. I want to make sure that you understand that it's the same thing when you're making a purchase from a corrupt entity, because that's what Amazon Prime represents. They're not exercising any constitutional rights as a business. You are entirely illegitimate, having no constitutional rights whatsoever exercised in the specific environment, in concert and on behalf of a corrupt government, which you are not doing so ignorantly in that specific environment. It's there because that criminal system is underway. Any and everybody is participating in it, and you're not doing it accidentally when it's in concert with that entity in that specific environment. It's the criminal system. It's corruption. And I'm going to drain the pockets of Amazon Prime. This is documented impunity. While you see them group stalking in the specific environment, like I showed you the other day, the entity is engaged in an ongoing criminal pattern of conduct, and this is going to be used as an admission, because that's what this is. This is an admission. I'm going to prosecute the people, and I'm going to prosecute the state of California with this admission created by the people of the state. This is criminal presence. When you're arriving, nobody's consenting to your engaging in group stalking, threatening my life. Nobody's consenting to providing any knowledge or any consent to your engaging what is keeping me under surveillance and sharing my private information while you are being a group stalker and a terrorist in the U.S. and in addition, taking my money while you're doing it. You're making $1 off of me while you the audacity, but I'm going to recover all of that and more because I'm going to drain the pockets. And if Amazon Prime survives that civil and criminal prosecution, it will be a devastating blow to their reputation with regard to the criminal system that they're facilitating as they are in the shoes of a corrupt government, knowingly so. Your workforce is not coincidentally demon possessed. You're fully engaged in serving Satan, engaged in state surveillance. You're fully engaged in that. Okay. And they act with impunity as you see them day in and day out, continuously engaging. You're not delivering packages. You're a demon possessed entity and you're group stalking. And you're group stalking with real time knowledge while you're monitoring on the venue of the internet, invading privacy. You know exactly what's being uttered about you. And you've witnessed, I've documented the pattern of them coming onto the grounds to further communicate a threat on the same days that I'm specifically naming them as group stalkers. That's not a coincidence in the specific environment in concert with that corrupt government. I've already documented that. This is what the demon possessed entity routinely engages in over and over and over again. There will be no time of year ever. What the entity did last night, a sunset, this is a specific environment. The light source also is right now over my apartment. It's covered up. And not only that, I've already documented the main, like you saw on May 6, 2024, but you only have to capture once. I've been capturing that light source since I've been here. And I began specifically showing it to you on video for a series of months beginning in February. Okay, we're in May. There is no one and no federal court and no one with any iota of a bit of consequence, whether you're an attorney or not, is going to forget the evidence that already exists. You will not forget what was impossible to ever occur one time. The delusional and mentally ill psychopaths who are violent sex offenders are continuously providing evidence against its criminal co-part. And everybody, like I said, including Lucy Santos, are going to federal prison and they're going for a long time. Okay, this ongoing malice and impunity is what I continue to capture. This is criminal conduct that Amazon Prime is subjecting me to while they are criminally engaging in the pattern of conduct, not engaging in any lawful business, while they're in relevant position providing presence on behalf of the state and in concert with the state that's sounding helicopter activity and blasting music in concert with that entity, including Joan Kim. She's going to federal prison. I'm talking about 1806 number 5. That's P.O.C. It's currently 11:30 a.m. on May 19, 2024. P.O.C.